We are here with another Big Queen interview, and I'm getting ready to sit down and speak to the authors of my new favorite book, Oh Lord. Let's go. Okay, so we are here on the Queening Network with the authors of Oh Lords. I have Jess Everhart here and Miss Teresa Zimmerman. So we're just going to talk about what inspired them to create this lovely novel, a little bit about their personal life and where they see themselves in the future. Okay,
Awesome.
So let's introduce ourselves.
Okay, you want me to start?
Yes.
Well, first of all, thanks for having us. This is a ton of fun. We're just excited to sort of be on this launch side of things instead of the writing side of life, right? So my name's Jess Everhart, and I'm co-author with my lovely friend here to my right, Teresa Zimmerman. Teresa Zimmerman, are you editing? This is editable, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because if it's not, we're
We're gonna keep that.
blooper reel.
Right, I was like, we'll keep that.
We just keep it in, yeah. Teresa Zimmerman, who I know how to say her name. Yeah,
Whatever, I've been called a lot worse.
Yeah, well, whatever. Sweet girl. And I don't know, let's see. I'm a mom. I think it's probably the most important thing. I'm a mom of a 19-year-old. You're a boy mom.
Yes,
so,
boy moms.
He's off in college and doing his thing and has read this book, and we have yet to talk about
I was
it.
going to ask, what is his reaction to the book? But he
Girl,
hasn't.
it's one of those things where you're just like, who asks first? Who broaches the subject? He did tell me I'm reading it. You know, I didn't
It's like
isolate.
recognizing some of the lords from his life.
was
He's like,
"Is
wait.
that I was like, yep, that's definitely him. He was like, okay, you know. So that's been fun. So I'm a mom, I'm a business owner, I'm the CEO of Jess & Co. And so we focus on women's empowerment, which is why this is so amazing
Yes.
and perfect. Like
Yes.
this, what you're doing and how you're building your business is right in line with what I just think all women should sort of tap into
Absolutely.
their greatness. I also do some consulting work for companies also along those same lines. It's around reinvention and like what is their next right step, right?
Yes.
From either departmental space or from a corporate lens or just an individual leadership lens. And I live in Durham. I'm originally from Ohio. I'm a big Ohio State Buckeye fan. And, you know, the list goes on, all the things. And I'm sure you'll get into
Yes.
some of the other things later. But that's me.
Love
Teresa.
it.
Yeah. My name is Teresa Zimmerman, no matter how Jess wants to pronounce
Wait,
it.
yeah.
So I have men's basics business, men's underwear business,
Yes.
underwear, undershirts, and loungewear. So almost 10 years I've been
Wow.
in men's underwear. So
How'd you
actually,
even
my whole
get
life
into
I've
that
been trying to get
field?
into men's underwear.
I was going to say, it's actually so funny that you could say it that way. I've been in men's underwear for 10 years. My whole
only
life I've
10
been
years?
trying to get into men's
Been
underwear.
there most of my life, right? So we're coming up on 10 years with What Underwear, and it's an education sell for me because it's about teaching men to think about their underwear drawer like women do. I mean, think
'Cause they
about
don't.
it.
They don't.
Think about it.
Because they don't.
Gym underwear, date night underwear, not the same thing, right? It shouldn't be.
I would hope not, but
Shouldn't
it's
be.
men.
Shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, so it's like most, and this is a huge generalization, so I don't mean to offend those who are a little bit more fashion forward, but if you look in a man's underwear drawer, it's probably the same brand, color, style, maybe size that their mother put there when they were 15.
Oh, yes.
Right?
I believe it.
Yeah, so there's
I
a lot
believe
of
it.
there's a lot of education that can happen there for men to think about putting on the right underwear with their clothing. And when they figure it out, they're like, oh my gosh, light bulbs.
Right, it makes such a
So
difference.
it does. It makes such a big difference. Anyway, it's been a blast because I get to walk into stores asking people if they want to see my underwear all day.
So how did y'all come together and come up with the idea to even create this book?
I'll start.
Yeah, you start. I feel like I always start.
November 2 years ago, 19, Jess and I ran into each other at a networking event. We hadn't seen each other for a minute, and she's coming in talking about some guy she met on a plane, and she didn't want to give him her number, but she did give him her number. She was going to go back there next week, but it wasn't really a date. And so I'm like, what are you talking about? It's a date.
Right.
No, it's not a date, because I didn't really want to give him my number, da-da-da. So
And he
then-
was younger, a lot younger. And
A lot younger,
That
like-
was my big hang up. I think I think in the book I say he was 14 years. He might have been like 16. I don't know. He was a lot younger than
Yes.
me. And I was like, I know I look young, but I mean, he's got to know I'm like significantly older than he is. But
Maybe he didn't.
maybe he didn't.
Or maybe he did and liked it.
And
I was gonna say, I was
that's
like,
right.
or he was
He was
down.
like totally into it. Well, it turns out it was a date,
Come on.
right? So we
It was
do
a
know
date.
that it was a date. So
I mean, this drew
all
a
the
crowd, and everybody's like, Jess, this is a date. Come on.
Yeah. It was, it was fun. But that's really what sparked
It sparked all this
these different conversations around dating. And Teresa starts talking about, like, I'm telling about my dating story, this dating episode, and Teresa leads in like, well, I have like an entire like journal and notes, literal notes on her dating experience before she met her husband, her Lord, my guy.
Yes.
And how she sort of got to the point where she was able to meet David. And so she was telling us this. She's like, girl, I got all these notes.
Yeah.
So it was just like a casual conversation,
over
like a
beer.
girlfriend.
Yeah.
And then y'all were like, we're going to put this in a book.
At the end of the night, we went back to the parking lot, and Teresa's like, we should really do this. And I was like, all right. And she's like, I'm going to put a date on your calendar. I was like, cool.
Yeah.
Thinking like, I'm flying to Manhattan tomorrow, whatever. It's probably
Yeah,
not gonna happen.
For this date, non-date.
And for this date, non-date. And sure enough, she follows up, and we got it on the calendar.
2 weeks later, something like that, we're sitting in a coffee shop comparing stories and figuring out what we're going to do.
We should probably go back in. I bet we have those calendar invites.
We probably do.
Wow. Go and see.
But we had most of this book written by maybe end of April 2020 because those couple months, silver linings of a horrible year.
Yeah, COVID.
We
put you
had
in the
those
house.
those couple months where we were just locked down, and I mean, I sell to stores. They were closed.
Yeah.
So. So
and I was
The timing just
transitioning out of my
aligned.
work, taking a board position in my former role. I was the executive director of a leadership nonprofit, and I was sunsetting that to take on a board role and launching my business. And so there was a lot of just laboratory, I call it like lab work, where you're working on your next step and you're working on your next thing, and this just naturally
slotted
integrated
in for both of us.
Wow,
Timing
it just
was really
worked.
good. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, so we finished it probably end of April, maybe May-ish 2020, and then we had to and then the world starts picking up, and we didn't know what to do with it next. So it took us a minute to figure out what to do with it.
So I want to know why you named it Oh Lord.
Great question.
Because it is, it's like a fancy way to talk about men. Because it's like, it's a praise, but then you're also like analyzing all of them. So how'd you come up with the title?
Yeah.
Well, it is a praise because this is not slamming men at all.
No, right.
We love men.
Right.
So I met my husband through a dating agent. You read the book,
Yes,
so you
I
know
did.
that. And when
He called you the next day at 7 a.m.
I know.
He said he wants it. He needs
It's
it.
like that's
That's it.
He so when I was doing this, I thought, okay, so if I want a partner in my life, if I want, I've got to do something differently because I had these like 8 types of guys cycling through my life for at least 5 years, maybe 10, because I was single for about 10 years between marriages, and so I had this working title, 8 Lords of Leaping, because it was also about Christmas time that I was gonna start with this dating agent. So 8 Lords of Leaping. Plus, it was a nice visual.
Yeah, just
guys
like
leaping
men.
through your
Just,
life,
That's right. It's great.
In leotard, by the way.
Yeah,
We're in my
of
head in
course.
leotard. Yeah.
showing off those legs.
That's right.
And it's a total coincidence that we ended up with 8 Lords. We did not
Plan that.
do that by design at all. We put that away, in fact. So, but it just so happened that we
it just
ended
worked.
up with 8.
Yeah,
And
I
then it
love that.
evolved into Oh Lords, which has its own lovely meaning. Oh Lord.
Right. It's like, oh Lord, but also, oh
Right.
Lord. It could be
Yes,
both.
It
It's
could be
both.
both. It could be
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
And so I want to know, what was the creative process? Because like the animation, like we were talking about, the animation, like they're fine men, all shades, all body types, very inclusive. Did y'all like brainstorm together, or how did you come up with like the format? You know how you guys are kind of having a
I would-
conversation within the book?
I mean, I don't know about you. I would love to say that we knew how to instruct Christine how to do this, but she was brilliant.
We did give her some inspiration.
We did,
sent
for
her men,
sure.
pictures of men
Yeah,
for inspiration.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, we
and
did.
then and kind of like, in some ways, the expressions, a few of them, like there was a few that we were like, this is what they need to, their facial, like Lord at Your Peril needs to look menacing.
For
right?
sure, yeah. I
But
think I
she's-
sent her a picture of Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I think you did.
I think I did.
Yeah, she made him extra attractive.
Yes. I'm like, they're all
He's
so
pretty
attractive.
sexy.
He's pretty sexy, Hannibal Lecter. Yeah.
They're all attractive.
Yeah.
And I love how when I was reading it, it felt like, girlfriends talking about their dating experience. But one thing I know that is important while dating is being accountable. And like you said, this isn't like a bashing book. It's not a male bashing book. It's really talking about the experience. And so why do you think being accountable is important while dating?
Well, so accountable and intentional, right? I think both of those go together because you can't control what somebody else does, but you can certainly control what you're doing.
Yes,
can
and what you
control-
accept.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What you accept, what you feel about it, who you invite into your life, right? So I was talking to a young girl yesterday. I'm like, she's like, oh yeah, intention. I'm not sure what that means. I said, so you're at college right now. Have you ever thought about who you might want in your life to the extent that the thought that you put into which college you wanted to go to for just 2 to 4 years, 5 years
it's just
maybe?
as important.
Right? Absolutely not. Why would I do that? Because if we're talking about a lifetime partnership, you've got to be intentional about
Yes.
it. So it's it is all. If you can't do that for yourself, how are you empowered? How are you empowering yourself? If we come back to that theme.
What about you, Jess? Why do you
Yeah, I
being
think that's right.
accountable-
I think Teresa nailed it. Being accountable in your dating, it requires you to own. Do we curse on this?
That's fine.
Yeah. You gotta own your shit.
You have to.
Because as women,
Is that a cuss word? I don't think that's a
Is
cuss
it
word
anymore,
No,
right?
They print that in New York Times nowadays.
do they?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, well, you gotta own your shit. Because as women, and we know this, as I'm sitting at a table full of women, I know we can go back into the archives and we blame the guy, we blame a situation.
I was
that
blaming
we were put
Lord
in.
Layaway.
Yeah, yeah, you do. You
I blamed him because I was like,
Oh, he's
blame
having a
him.
blast.
Right.
That's what we
He
were
feels
talking
no
about.
blame.
He was like,
feels
I'm getting all of the
absolutely no
things. I'm
blame.
getting
Right.
everything plus some.
right.
Because
I was
she's
like, why
willing
are
to hang in there
Why
with
are
me.
you doing this to me? And I'm like, he wasn't really doing anything.
No.
He was
Right.
very clear, and I was just like trying to force my expectations on him and what I wanted from him.
Yes.
And then still blaming him.
Oh, yeah.
No. So that is why.
Isn't that
that
like-
is why
isn't that
accountability
crazy? That's
matters.
light bulbs. That's like, wow.
Yes.
Because then you can look at yourself and say, okay, this isn't about him. If he would just change, if he would just do right, if he would just be what I need him to be, what does that have to do with you?
Right.
Right? You
Nothing.
made the choice to be with a man who is insufficient, immature, whatever he is, all the things
All
he
the
is.
things.
That's a choice.
Yes.
And we aren't bound to those choices. We can make other choices. And so accountability is so key. And women do not bring that accountability into relationships often, but we do bring it into which college am I going to go to? Which air fryer am I going to buy?
What job do I want to
What job
accept?
do I want to accept?
Yeah.
Where do I want to live? I want to make sure there's sidewalks in my neighborhood so I can walk. Okay, so you're worried about
Yeah.
sidewalks,
And you're
but
not
the
worried
man
about
in your
the man-
house is like up for grabs. Like what is
Right.
happening?
Yes.
Right.
So this book, I think, sheds the light or shines light on it for me because we made all these mistakes.
Yeah.
And we've learned, but like rather than beat yourself up, you just say, hey girl, you better dust off and keep
Yeah.
it moving.
Yeah.
Because now that you know this, do better. You
Yeah.
can do better. You
Right.
can make a different choice next time.
Well, and not only that, you can't spend time hating Lord Layaway. He's living his best
He's
life.
He's not even
He's
thinking
living
about
his
us
best
anymore.
life. Yeah. So why waste any energy with anger on that person?
Right.
It's like he's doing him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't need that in my life.
Yeah, and it is helpful to have labels. So,
Yeah.
I think labels. I actually don't like labels in life, categorizing people. But in this book, it's really helpful because then you can say, oh, women can say, Lauren, who's this college student we were talking about, she can say, oh, that's Lord Layaway.
Yes, that's
Versus
what I
like,
felt
why
reading
isn't
it.
he just No, now you have a name. What is he? And he's Lord Layaway. Okay, well then maybe we shouldn't be with him.
Yeah.
Or maybe you want to play
Or
that
maybe
game.
you want to play the game.
I was gonna say, I was like, hey,
Hey, girl,
sometimes Lord Layaway is
It's
fun.
fun.
Oh,
It's so
absolutely.
fun.
It's-
But just know, you better
It's
know.
fun. I think it's fun like when you are also kind of like young and like you don't really have any real goals, you don't have any intention. Lord Layaway is great. But then you start getting older, you're like, wait, I want more. And he's like, why?
Yeah,
Why?
yeah.
What's wrong with this?
Well, that's the opportunistic dating part too that we don't want to get away. We don't want it to go away because that's a blast.
It's so
much
fun.
right? It's just,
Yeah.
but know what you're doing.
Right,
Go
right. That's
out
what
and
the
have
intention
have
comes
fun.
in.
Some
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you want? Because I mean, anyone can read the book. I think men can read the book, women can read the book.
for sure.
You know.
I got a note from a friend's husband via Facebook DM. I haven't even had a chance to share this with you.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
He went through the book and he went, it opened my eyes a little bit. I really enjoyed it. Congratulations.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not a
Because
person
even the
I would
men
have
can read it and
expected
be
to pick
like,
up.
you know what? I've been a few of these lords.
Or I've dated
you know,
a few
or
of
I've
these lady layaways or lady
Yes,
mamas.
yes, it's
there's-
very interchangeable.
yeah.
So what do you want people to take away from the book? What do you want people to
Yeah.
feel after they finish?
Well, I think they should have a good time with it. So
Definitely.
dating should be fun, right? We say this all. Dating should be fun.
Yes.
Oftentimes it is not, which is what this book
feel
was
the
the
same.
inspiration. But you should have a good time reading it. You should see yourself in it. You should laugh a lot. Hopefully you feel empowered and that you understand that the goal here is to shift the agency back to whoever's to the reader. So
Right.
the reader has agency and can make choices. Hopefully is able to put a name and a label on people they're working with and dating and all the stuff to be able to make some sound decisions and say, I get he's Lord FOMO and I'm cool with it.
And I'm okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And that I've had more people say that to me, like,
Yeah.
oh, open dating. You know, we used to be taboo. People don't really talk about it. It
Well,
felt
and you just don't know how to do it.
scandalous a
If you
little,
wanna
and it
do it,
also
then
what are the
felt
rules?
what are the rules?
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that we should slow down a little bit. And how do you have intention? You should slow down and figure out what you want. And sometimes that requires you to date different people. We think we know what we want, and
That's
then
why
we're
I
like,
went to a dating agent.
man, yeah, we have
Yeah.
our list. Here's the top 5 things on my
Personal
list.
shopper for men.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
So thank you, ladies, so much for taking the time and talking to me today. I really, truly appreciate it, and I hope this is not the last
awesome.
time we get together and discuss. I know probably there'll be a Oh Lords Part 2. I don't know.
Get your girls
You
together.
know-
We can all come together.
Yes,
and
that'll
We
be
would
nice.
love to do it.
Yeah.
We'd
Like a
love to do
tea
little-
party?
Yeah,
Yeah.
girl, we'll come and talk about the book.
Yes, I
Absolutely.
love it. Thank you so much, ladies. Any last words?
No, I still stuck on you found your Lord my guy.
Yes, yes, it was so,
So it's
great.
possible. This book
It
says
is,
it's
and
possible.
it does, and it's like reading it. You see all the guys that are not it, you
Yeah.
know, and then when you get to that feeling, you're like, it's just like a light that goes off, and
Yeah.
so it is really helpful.
Nice.
Thank
So
you.
exciting, yes. Thank you
for
so
having
much.
us.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Big Queen
Thank you.
out.